This is the methylation map I'm showing the differences on why the pathway. What will display for you? Can you see that? Okay. The methylation pathway is so important. It's the natural pathway without having to convert to something else within the body. Our body designed methylation. It's how we are created. Our food is through the methylation. It's absorbed. So the first chart is how your urea cycle is. So if you're not taking the right form of your amino acids, which are the proteins, the building blocks of protein, if you're taking the wrong food source, then you'll have high uric acid content, which is gout. Then it goes to the next slide, which is your neurotransmitters. This is where it helps for the brain. So here you'll see tryptophan for the brain, and tyrosine for the brain, and how it comes down the pathway. The next one is for your folate cycle. And as you see, as it's taken, the final result in absorption is your 5-MHTF methylated folate. The next one is your cycle on that's dealing with the methylation tunnel from methionine, which turns into SAMe. Methionine produces SAMe, is made from that. We'll go into SAMe on how that does. But it gives you an organic sulfate instead of a sulfite. It's completely different what you take in, how it's converted into the body. Now, SAMe is a miracle product. It was brought out in 1990. You'll find it in most drugstores. You'll find it globally. It was invented in Italy. It's an incredible product for what it can do. It can work on a few levels. It can work on mood. It can work on pain, and it can work on liver toxicity. And one of the only things that they're recommending now to treat non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. That's 40% of the population. And that was I think that was in Time magazine or something. It's on our website. We have the articles posted. With SAMe, we found that the reason for this treating disease process, there's a go-to way how to treat disease. Disease starts either within the brain, with that what everything the brain's connected to, your whole endocrine system, all your glands, how the glands work. We'll go into that. Also, your cardiovascular system, your arteries, because you're only as healthy as the state of your arteries, and then how they filter everything through your liver, which is everything goes through the liver. And then, of course, your gut. Your gut is your second brain, but as Hippocrates said over 2,000 years ago, all disease begins in the gut. And Hippocrates is the father of modern medicine. But why didn't they listen to what he said? And they only started to look at the gut-brain connection just recently. He said it 2,000 years ago. Father of modern medicine. So that tells you something. Now, with SAMe, I take it just because of what it does for the liver. It can actually take cirrhosis of the liver, restore the liver. It builds liver enzymes. That's incredible. And we've designed the first liquid version of SAMe in the world, stabilized liquid version, so it can bypass the digestion. So if your digestion is impeded, then you'll have a hard time to break it down because it should pass through and break down in your small intestine. The liquid goes directly into the bloodstream. Well, what we've had is, we had a sales rep of ours once, and I'll tell you this story that he told me, and it's quite moving. His mother, he says, what can I do for my mother? She's never happy. She's never happy. There's always some childhood that asks, how you doing, Mom? Okay. So what should I do? She says, I said, give her SAMe. Give her SAMe. What do you got to lose? So, sure enough. Gives it to her, tell her to take 80 drops at night. Takes it, next day, phones his mother. Hi, Mom. How are you? I'm good. change in her voice. She sounded chipper. He started to cry. Because I've never heard my mother ever say that to me, that she felt good. Never was. Then she says, I go over there sometimes and she forgets, and I see her in that stage of depression. And he's had twin children, which we helped them with that. To see both his wife and himself were infertile. And he had twins, so he said, I love and hate you for that. But anyway, when they brought the kids over, and the mother would still be depressed. And so he'd give her the Sammy, and just by raising the blinds of a window, the light comes in. Within 30 minutes, she just noticed her mood changed, and she started playing with the children. So it's quite incredible what this product can do, and mainly for mood, pain, and liver. And here's an interesting fact that medical science uses SAMI when there's toxicity of the liver, or when a liver needs to be transplanted, to preserve the patient long enough till they can find a suitable donor. They put them on SAMe because it creates the enzymes, so it keeps them alive until the donor can be found. That's how important it is for our system. And since I said everything goes through our liver, it's critical to have a healthy liver. But here is the endocrine chart. How many remember when going into a toddler's room or a baby, over the crib they have this mobile? Remember that, how it is? You push one, then they all move. It's the same thing with our endocrine glands. Our endocrine glands, one gland out of proportion affects the other glands. So here we have the pituitary gland, your master gland. It produces growth hormone, how we grow. If you don't have adequate amount of growth hormone, you have dwarfism. And this relates to thyroid, and thyroid to adrenal, and adrenal, and how you can see the interaction with the luteinizing hormones, it affects our ovaries and testes. So our hormone levels, all connected by the endocrine glands. But we've created a product, and actually I created this for myself, not to sell, just for myself, originally. I went to an anti-aging conference in Monaco. I was with some of the brightest minds on anti-aging. And they started to talk about that 80% of the population is thyroid deficient one way or another. And most don't even know it. And then thyroid is related to your adrenals. So if you feel like adrenal fatigue, you're tired, then usually your thyroid is affected. If you just do your adrenals, then your thyroid is imbalanced. So it has to be balanced. And so I created this for balancing the endocrine system based on the research. And it's been quite incredible for how it can balance the body. And so when there's a condition, a health condition, I always recommend, well, if you're unsure if your hormones are out of balance, just go on HGH. It'll put everything in order, and then you can see where it is. Because the glands that we use are the full pituitary gland. So it has the posterior and the interior where the growth hormone is delivered from. And because it's homeopathic, you can use the full hormonal glands. And I source the glands personally from New Zealand. I know the animal. I know how the slaughterhouse. I know where it's processed in the United States. Every step of the way, I have the documentation. And New Zealand has, the government backs up, there's no mad cow, no TSE, BSE in New Zealand products, livestock. The interesting thing with the HGH is how it's made. It's by oscillation. And what you'll find is, when I go into anti-aging, I go much deeper into the HGH. But HGH, when you hit to certain plateaus as you age, hit 40, you can lose 30% of your muscle mass without doing anything different. Working out at the gym, you just lose it. You lose your muscle mass. And we had someone at our trade show come up to us in Toronto, It says, I own a gym, and I just want to tell you about your HGH. I took it, had all my scores, I did all my testing, I dropped 30%. After I took the HGH for 6 months, I regained it all. So it's quite incredible, and there's several double-blind and placebo-controlled studies on homeopathic HGH, and we sell the books online and or you can order them here through your store. We can bring them in for you. It's quite incredible the research that has been done on HGH. Now, of course, we know about the injectable form, and that has side effects because too much is given, and you can get what you call acromegalia sets in, and that's where you get the caveman effect. So your forehead grows, your jaw grows, and every organ grows if you take too much. And if you look at some of the big-time bodybuilders from the 80s, take a look at Lou Ferrigno and some of these big guys. This is all acromegalia from the HGH. Arnold Schwarzenegger is another one. So this is telling you how our levels of estrogen and progesterone are absorbed within our body. These are receptor sites. We have receptor sites everywhere throughout our body to receive the nutrients to the cells. So we can see the chart on the top left. We'll see high estrogen levels. So you can see that they're being received with estrogen. And some are not all filled. And you'll see 300 would be a high, resulting in physical or emotional symptoms because your hormones are out of whack. And then low, you'll see only one receptor site is full. So your hormones are out of whack. And then you'll see at the bottom, now this is using like Proliferation or something like that. It's a synthetic hormone that they use from pregnant horses' urine, and they create this. And this was done with a big study, the HDR study. They had all these women involved in this study and comparing them with hormone medication, synthetic. And the women were developing cancer, so they had to stop it halfway through the course of the training because they were dying, doing something that they thought would be helping. So what we see here is soy isoflavone, which we use in our Progest liposome cream. It has the receptor sites. It fills it from the soy isoflavone, and it normalizes the symptoms of relief. Now the thing is, with a lot of people, the apprehension is soy is all genetically modified, and I would be really apprehensive to trying these soy products myself. But I know what we get. We order our products from the European Union. It's certified third-party, non-GMO, and we have all the paperwork to back it up that it's non-GMO. So I'd never produce this product if it was not. So what we see here is the pathway that you can see how it takes, how the hypothalamus and the pituitary, again, all your endocrine glands, why balancing them is so very important. So it goes to estrogen to progesterone, then it goes to the estrogen levels to maturing follicles and to the uterus. This is why so many women today are imbalanced in their hormones, because of the pathway and what they're taking in is causing a real, as I also said, the bioaccumulation is causing everything in the habit body to form. Liposome, we've created this with a liposome delivery. Now liposome delivery is 9 times greater than capsules or tablets. Absorption to the cells. Now why that is a liposome is a cell membrane, almost like, let's say we're going to do direct to sender, UPS, and put your name on it. And it's going to come directly to you. No one else is going to, you're going to get it. And it's going to be delivered to you. And so when you take your components and your formulation and you put it with liposomes, it's placed like in that type of an envelope. And it goes to the cells. It's seeking to be accepted. So it's like knocking. And he looks, oh, you're a liposome. Come on in. We need you because you help prepare the tissues, liposome. That's why it's absorbed instantly. And once it's absorbed, the nutrients are allowed to be absorbed. So it's cellular delivery. This is how products have to be taken, so they're delivered to the cells.